Well, we just got done kind of setting up the cultivator. Different kind than what we've been using. I'll put a few of these tools away first. And I'll show you what that looks like. So you know what row cultivating is. The organic corn is about 11 days old. So, when you're organic, you can't use chemical to get rid of your weeds. You can't get rid of the grass. Here's our corn. Here's the foxtail. There's a buttonweed. Here's some velvet leaf, I think. Here's a cockleburr. Well, we can't get rid of any of this stuff the way the conventional guys do with spray and residual and all that kind of stuff. We have to use the old-fashioned way, which is cultivating. Cultivating is kind of a lost art. Not very many people do it anymore. Not very many people want to do it. It's tedious. The first pass through the field, you've got to go very slow. If you go very fast, you will be throwing dirt clear up over your corn, like, you know, and you'll bury it. But you do have to throw enough dirt to get in here and cover this stuff up, which is very difficult. Now, this cultivator he's got on, we just purchased this spring, and it's got the rolling shields on it, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to buy it. But the rolling shields, and I'll show you here in a little bit, they're basically a steel wheel that kind of goes over the row like this, so that dirt can't get inside there and cover up your crop. Otherwise, if you didn't have a shield on there, the dirt would just simply bury your crop, which would be obviously no good. So this is our first pass so far for 2020, and he's not used to this cultivator yet. I've got 3 or 4 of them all together, and each one is kind of a little different. The row units might be just a little bit tighter, shovels might be a little bit bigger or more worn out on some of them, so you kind of got to get used to it. So you can kind of tell he's not really quite perfect here with his rows, with his driving, and he's kind of watching me down there. Whoop. That one, you can see how wiggly he is. He's kind of all over the place, but he was trying to watch me because we're trying to make sure we got everything set. And the trick to cultivating, guys, is do not, when you're driving the tractor, do not turn around here and look behind you to see what you're doing. If you keep your front tires right where they need to be, your back tires will be where they need to be, and so will the cultivator. So don't look behind you. You can see right here, well, these are his tracks here just a minute ago. He came back up the pickup and then he just drove back down there to get back where he was. But you can see as he's driving, and this is with the cultivator up, he just drove back down there again. He was driving and he's kind of wiggling a little bit. When you're doing that throughout the field with the cultivator down, that cultivator is going to be wiggling too, and it'll start wiping out your crop, and you don't want that. You want it to be perfectly center going down all those rows. Well, he's out here running the cultivator around the corner. I think I'll wait on him over here. Man, look at all these cockleburrs coming up. Oh my goodness. There's a bunch of them. Foxtail too. Holy smokes, guys, this is crazy. This should have been taken care of several days ago. We were behind planting soybeans. That major malfunction of the planter breaking. Waiting on the new planter while it was raining, and it just dried out 2 days ago enough that we could get in and start planting, and we should have been out here cultivating. But what do? Do you plant or do you cultivate? Do you plant or you cultivate? So we went ahead and planted to get those in. I sure hope we can get these cleaned up. Man, look at the gap on that guy. Holy smokes. Well, that's because this over here is one planter pass, and I left a little bit bigger gap in the middle so that when our cultivators come through, they don't, if they're too close, it'll wipe out both rows, and that's really bad. So I made it a little bit bigger. I tried to, and that down there is really big. I tried to make it a little bit bigger so you had a little more corn instead of wiping out corn. Because when you have a big wipeout, then it's just as bad as having too big a gap, but didn't really want it that big. Anyway, he'll be coming around this way here in a few minutes and then back up over here, and that's where I'm going to catch him. I can get this on video, show you how this cultivator works. And then here he comes. I know the rows ain't perfectly straight here, but if you can tell by his front tires, kind of where he's driving, you can see how crucial it is. He's really got to pay attention to where those front tires are. So now you can kind of see that cultivator's breaking this stuff up over here, and with those rolling shields, it's keeping the dirt away from the row, protecting our precious little corn plant. But also, it's protecting this guy, and that's too bad. He's going to get away and make it to full term probably. I got one other tool that we can use to get rid of everything in here, but I don't want to use it at the moment. So, and that's too bad because it'll kill all those. Won't hurt the corn, and it won't hurt grass, but it'll kill any broadleaf that it touches, including soybeans. So you can't use it in soybeans. But he's doing a pretty decent job. See, there's what I was. Again, that's what I was talking about staying perfectly straight. He's not far enough over yet that he's wiping out these plants, but he's right there. This shovel over here is plenty far over. He really needed to be over just a little bit, but without precision guidance on a tractor, it's pretty hard to get perfect. That's about as close as you're going to get doing it by hand. Or by, you know, man instead of machine. Alright. Now, I've got to go do some baling. Now that I am done planting, I can go back to doing the baling stuff. He's been doing the baling the last couple of days while I've been planting. Looking for my rain gauge. Not sure where it's at. Anyway, since I was planting and he doesn't want to plant, he's been doing the baling. But the baling that's left is some pretty steep stuff, and he doesn't want to do that either, and I don't blame him. I don't like doing it, but where that dang rain gauge went. Anyway, we'll check back in on him later and see how he's done. Well, checking back now to see how he did cultivating. He did a fairly decent job. Like I was showing earlier though, it's just really difficult to get these in-row weeds. No matter how close you are, no matter how good a driver you are, it's pretty darn difficult to get those. There's still an awful bunch of those. Man, I might just have to get the other tool out. Don't want to wait too long. Those weeds get much bigger and they're not going to get stopped. But looking down these long rows, that's pretty decent. Had a little wiggle right here and pretty much wiped out all the corn. Doggone it. That's not going to grow back. Looks like you must have been driving a little faster. See right here, you wiped it out a little bit right there too. Doggone it. Well, that happens. That's kind of how it goes when you're cultivating. You win some, you lose some. And of course, where you've got point rows, the diagonal end rows going this way, and you're coming up to them this way, you can't get all of it without wiping out some of your end rows. So what do? Do you leave some end rows and have some grass? Or do you wipe this out, wipe that out, and then you wipe that out too? I don't know. So we usually just leave a little bit of grass. Kind of our rule of thumb. But it looks pretty decent, all things considered. Pretty decent job. The soybeans down there in the bottom haven't popped up yet. He's just harrowing that right now. In fact, he's on the other side of the river, harrowing that piece. Killing any popping weeds that are coming through, little white hairs. Well, I think that's going to be it for this video, guys. Looks pretty decent. So, if you like organic, if you want to learn more about organic, just hit subscribe and share and hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I put up new videos. So we're always out here doing something. Yeah, exciting times farming. Catch you next time.